All right. I think we are now live in the Facebook group, I believe. Are we not? Let's see. I think we are. Maybe not. Yes, we're live now. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. I'm Terri Piekara, WBDC's social media advisor, and thanks for joining us for another Feel Good Friday Facebook Live conversation. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Shira Burstein, a clinical psychotherapist and the owner of Shira Burstein Therapy based in Stamford. Shira's been a longtime WBDC supporter and a volunteer guest instructor since 2017. Welcome, Shira.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Why don't you introduce yourself and share some ways we can try to manage the stress we're all feeling during these crazy, challenging times?
Sure. Thank you guys again for having me here. And it's really a pleasure. We were just talking about how many Zooms we've done, and I've never had the opportunity yet in this pandemic to be the one talking. So it's great to not have my camera shut off and the mute button on, and to have a conversation. I've been in the field for a long time. I've been in private practice for over 6 years now. I started my studies in clinical social work, actually. I did my master's at Columbia.
So I'm frozen on our end. Let's see. So then, Meg, are you there?
Hi. Hi.
Let's see.
You're not frozen on the end.
Yeah. Oh, now you are. Yeah. Oh. Hey.
Hey. Okay.
This is good. This is good. We will all get through it. And it's just like you said, we're all trying our best to do this kind of strange new world. So
exactly.
Oh my gosh.
We can't control tech. We cannot, we can't control it. It's fine.
We actually cannot control much of anything. And I think that that's what this talk is going to be about. I don't know if anyone heard what I was saying about my background, but I will just say that I was always interested in mental health. I started to be really fascinated with the mind in high school. I used to read all of these forensic files and everything, and I thought I would become like a real murder mystery kind of therapist. I did a lot of training in big hospitals in Westchester, and it was actually there that I saw how integral the therapists and the social workers were. And for me, that was really inspiring. And so I just kind of went like in a straight arrow into the mental health world. I did my background in advanced clinical work with children, youth, and family at Columbia. And I worked in schools and I worked in clinics over the summer. And I just started to really build my my love for mental health through that avenue. I worked for years in big clinics that had eclectic groups and eclectic backgrounds of people. The demographics were really wide. And people ask me today, what do you specialize in? I don't have a specialty, but I think it's pretty special to be exposed to so many different kinds of diagnoses and people and different kinds of socioeconomic environments. And I think part of what I like about the work I do is it's pretty eclectic. I'm an eclectic person just in general. My style is a little all over the place. And I feel really good that I can confidently use evidence-based methods to deal with lots of different stuff like general anxiety and even, psychosis, people who are using medication management and people who, prefer to go down a more homeopathic route. So that's sort of what my practice is like. I have my office in Stamford. I have my office in Brooklyn. And the people that come through my door are really a variety. I'm not sure if there's much more you want to know about that aspect.
No.
No?
No. Oh, am I gone again? Oh,
No.
there you are. Okay. I keep breaking up, so I don't know if it's me or not. I might take myself off of video at some point,
Okay.
just or close my video in case, because I keep getting flashed up. But you had some really interesting things to talk about.
Yep.
CBT, which is
Cognitive behavioral therapy. Yes.
Okay.
So when I think about how I talk to people about my clinical approach, and I say it's eclectic, I really, really love CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. CBT is here and now. It's, what is the presenting problem in the way you think about it, and let's start restructuring your thoughts right now. As opposed to maybe psychodynamic, which I also kind of mix in, psychodynamic work talks about the past. The goal of CBT is to basically identify maladaptive thought patterns in order to change the way you think about things so that eventually you change the way you feel about them. I think, and Terri, you tell me if you agree with this, but I think that we talk so much in feelings-based language, like there's, people say, oh, I feel like this about something, or I feel like we should, pack the car this way or not that way. You don't feel that. You use your logic, you use your brain to assess the situation, and then you make your decisions. But I think that we all kind of talk about our feelings first, and CBT wants to address what you have told yourself deep down inside that provokes feelings so that you can start changing those narratives. Because what happens is we tend to have an activating event, and then we start having the feelings, and then we try and fill in the blanks. But that's not really a good way to go about it.
So go back to the car packing.
Sure.
Can you hear me? Gosh,
Yep.
I have no idea if anybody can hear me or not, but I'm going to keep going.
Yes.
I think Shira can hear me.
Yes.
But go back to the car packing example. So if I feel like we should pack the car this way, have you been with me the whole time?
Yep. We're with you. We are with you.
I am going to definitely turn my video off to see if I'm going to turn my video off to see if I get better reception. I don't know if it's me, but we keep breaking up. Are you there, Shira?
Yep, and I hear you.
Shira, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. I turned my video off. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's my video that is breaking up so much, but I keep freezing, so it could very well be on my end. So for right now, I'm just going to keep my video turned off, and hopefully that helps us. But could you go back to the car packing example and describe two different, like how you feel and how you think, because I'm a little confused about that. So and it's interesting to me.
Yes. So what I want to, let me bring in another piece of information, and maybe that can help explain that small example. When we talk about cognitive approaches, we need to address our schemas. Schemas are a representation of a plan or a theory form, and the schemas that we have are either physical or logical or visual. So when people say things like, I feel like we should pack the car this way, their schema is, an identification of what it was to pack that car before, what they'll feel like if they pack the car a certain way, what's going to happen. There's a lot of extra. And it's not that your feelings are dictating it. You should pack the car logically by what you think and you see, not because you feel it to be a certain way. Does that make sense? I actually thought of a different pandemic example to use, but do you see what I mean when you say I feel I should do it versus I think that it should be this way?
So Shira, I apologize, but you broke up so often that I couldn't actually hear you. But let's move on. I can hear you now. I'm wondering if I am wondering if maybe it is my internet, and I apologize, but let's move on and talk to me about the restructuring, or did you do that already?
No, I didn't, but I wanted to kind of give you guys an idea. Can you hear me, Terry?
I can hear you right now. Yes.
Okay, so just so you have a little background, I came up with a schema. It's important for you guys to know what the schemas are. If I wrote down some ideas of what my schema is, but can you tell me, or anyone who's listening in the comments, if I were to say to you, you have to go to Trader Joe's right now, what are the schemas? What are the thoughts, the physical, the views, the whole scenario? Can you tell me what you might think of?
Yeah. So for me, for sure, if somebody said you have to go to Trader Joe's right now, my
Yep.
initial feeling would be a little panic, because that's how I'm feeling just going out into any grocery store, shop, anything right now. My next feeling or thought would be prepping for that trip. So gloves, mask, Lysol wipes, hand sanitizer, my paper list. So as opposed to my phone, which I used to use, but now I won't use it while I'm in a store.
Okay. What does it
Until
look
I
like
get
when
to
you get-
checkout.
Like, what does it look like when you drive up to Trader Joe's?
So, well, if you're using Trader Joe's,
Yeah.
which is easy enough for me, I check out the parking lot. If the parking lot is full, I am like, do I really need to do this?
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Exactly. So just so I can tell you, I almost feel like a magician who like writes people's thoughts and puts it in an envelope and reveals it later to prove that I've read your mind. But that's the same for me. My schema of it is that I will go if there's a long line. This was how I felt in March and April. If there's a long line, which is objective, I'm going to feel anxious. I'm going to panic. I'm going to leave. I'm going to feel overwhelmed. And that's happened. That's happened so much so because I've associated feelings to facts, which is not true. It's not a long line if there's 4 people or 12. It's just up to me to decide that it's long. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's you're sort of assessing
Right.
the risk. Is that right to you in that moment?
Yes, unfortunately, based on my feelings and observations. And I'm saying unfortunate because with restructuring, which is what CBT is all about, I could have in March said, oh, there's a line. I'm not unsafe because there is a line. There are masks and I have things to do on my phone while I wait. And so it's not a big deal. But in March, I was telling myself, panic mode, and I would leave the parking lot.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would-
Well, I still do that. So.
Maybe you need to restructure your rules about it.
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, maybe. How do you determine though that
Yes. So with CBT, there's I have a Cliff Notes version. My Cliff Notes, my quick answer to you is when you start to be activated, when you have that feeling, the first thing you need to say to yourself is this a fact or an opinion? Is it a fact that this is too overwhelming for the whole wide world? Is it an overwhelming, unsafe, too long line situation? Do you think, Terry, you could determine whether you're having a fact reaction or an opinion reaction?
No, I think it was definitely an opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think if I really stopped to think about it,
Yeah.
I believe Trader Joe's was doing what they needed to do, to limit the number of people going into the grocery store as best that they could. And, you know, again, with time, I know that it has gotten better.
Exactly. And in fact, there's a person standing at the front who only allows a person in once a person is out. So there's so many other things, facts that show that we're okay, but because we are healing, those govern our decisions. And I think that that's where you can quickly start changing your attitude towards something. There's an ABCDE chart. I know there's lots of letters with CBT, with cognitive behavioral work. I'm going to post it for you guys to see, but the tool is you need to determine your activation. You need to determine what your beliefs are about that activation. You need to think about the consequences, meaning the symptoms, anxiety, depression, anger, irritability towards others, shutting down. You need to think about disproving your beliefs. And then if you're doing it fully, you're able to be activated and then go from A to D and have a better E effect. So go ahead.
Now, in doing that A to D or E, do like how, well, I would assume practicing that takes quite a bit of time.
A lot.
But okay.
Yeah.
How long would you expect something like that to actually, like from the start of the thought to the end of the alphabet letter, the E,
Yes.
How long would you expect, or is there no time limit on it?
So
does that make sense?
It does. And you know what, Terri, if it was appropriate to hug people in therapy, or even right now in this pandemic, I would give you a big squeeze, because I think every single person who goes into therapy, myself included, asks that, how long is this going to take? I mean, I can't answer, because it depends on yourself. It depends on your commitment to it. I think in the beginning, when you start doing the ABCDE exercise, it takes forever. It takes forever. And the general complaint is, how am I going to do that when I'm already upset? Like, I don't have the time to then bring it back down and do a whole exercise for like 45 minutes. I have things to do and I'm upset, you know?
Interesting. Yeah. It's almost like you're doing a count, but you're actually telling yourself something. Is that?
Yeah, these are things that you can ask yourself, and whoever's listening, maybe you can jot these things down or listen to this later on, but that's why I'm saying the spark notes. Are these facts or opinions? That's the quickest in the moment way to address the activation.
Okay.
What are some objectives that support what I'm thinking? Are there alternative views? Am I underestimating myself to cope with what's going on? For example, me at the supermarket, why in March and April did I think I could not handle the line at Trader Joe's? I mean, I've done much harder things in my life.
Right.
But I told myself I couldn't swing it. So I would just literally run away in my car.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. For what reason? Why? I don't know. Ask yourself, what's the worst case scenario if my perceived fear comes true? I don't know what my perceived fear was, that I would be there too long. Is that really something to be afraid of? Did I have somewhere to go after? So those are kind of like the quick ways to deal with beginning stages of restructuring. Does that make any sense?
It absolutely does. Yeah, it absolutely does. So it's really important to when you're in this process to then decide whether, or think of, is this fact or opinion? And okay, and that seems like the easiest thing to do.
Yeah,
for me. I'll just speak for myself.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Terri? I recommend that people do the ABCDE exercise alone at home in a reflective state, not when it's happening. Because you really need to dig deep and think about all of those underlying messages that you tell yourself that you don't even realize, the subconscious. We don't have time for all that in the real world. And so, yes, ask yourself, is this a fact or an opinion? Can you tell me in your own words, like, what is your definition of a fact versus an opinion?
I'm sorry, you broke up again. Can
That's
I
okay.
tell you
In your own words,
what?
the difference is between a fact or an opinion?
Oh boy. I mean, I think a fact would have an absolute answer to it, and an opinion is something that I'm putting my own experience on.
Exactly. You know, I'm trying to think of another example. You know, I've heard people say that, you know, because they can't get everything done at once at home during this pandemic, they're failures, or they're, you know, they're lazy. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I mean, don't you have to like include sort of stress and change and the ability to sort of accept those things and move through them?
100%. I mean, I think, and this is, you know, if you can follow that kind of language, I think, and then fill in the rest, you know, I think that people, and maybe it's a generalization, but I think that it's very easy to just forget about everything that causes us to be as we are. Let's talk about needing to homeschool your kids while you're trying to do full time at home during a pandemic, and you have one computer and the internet's not working. You know, it goes on, and then we say we do some of our distorted thinking, which I'll also talk about, and we make distortions, and then we become self-disparaging. We just say, oh, I don't know why I'm feeling like such a lazy loser. I'm anxious, I'm overwhelmed, something's wrong with me, I can't understand why. Look around.
Yeah.
Put some supportive views towards your experience. Not to constantly validate yourself. It's not about being overly complimentary towards you. Sometimes we make mistakes and sometimes we do the wrong thing, but let's figure out first why we're feeling and behaving in certain ways because of our thinking. Does that make sense?
It does. It actually does. And now with all that, so you have some activities, right?
Yeah.
And can you tell me about what these activities entail and
Yeah.
what they look like?
Yeah. So I know you were asking, you know, what can you do about restructuring your thoughts?
Right.
So the one tool we've talked about so far, in short, is the ABCDE tool, which, you know, we'll give to everybody. You know, cross-check yourself, ask yourself if you're having thoughts or facts or opinions impacting you. And then another way to get on top of cognitive restructuring, I guess today is all about like the background work you need to do first.
Okay.
In the late 1960s, Aaron Beck created his theory of cognitive distortions. I'm sure we've all said like you're distorted in your thinking, but there's quite a few, and CBT, cognitive behavioral work, is about figuring out how to have better, more effective feelings. It's not about not having feelings. It's just putting logic behind them.
Got it.
Did you want to say something, Terry? I don't see.
No,
When
you're saying, yeah, no, when you're saying cognitive distortion, so I understand. Can you put that in more like everyday terms?
Yes. So I'm gonna, I wrote a list so I can make sure I stay organized, but I'm gonna give you 10 of them.
Okay.
For the activity, I'm gonna give you some vignettes that you have to tell me which distortion is being used.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's a test. Pop quiz.
Golly, I thought school was over.
How do you feel about pop quizzes?
Not great.
What's the schema based off of that? Did you have bad experiences with pop quizzes in the past?
Always, because I like to be prepared.
Okay. Do you think that you've done well before in a pop quiz?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no, depends on the subject. Math, absolutely not.
Well, you can tell yourself this is not math, so the probability is good for you.
Excellent.
See, there we go. We had an experiential CBT restructuring right now.
Excellent.
Okay. So, but do you see how quickly that was?
Yes.
It's like you can go from heightened to neutral quicker than you could ever imagine. So thank you for participating.
Of course. Yeah, I'm here for you and me.
Okay, so here's the first one. The first one, and these are going to actually sound very familiar to people because they are. All or nothing thinking. That's one distortion. So in all or nothing thinking, you think in an extreme spectrum with no gray. It's usually like using superlative language. Okay, does that make sense?
It does. Yep.
Okay. The second one is overgeneralizing. So that's when you take an isolated event and you assume, like maybe now, that every event following it will be exactly the same, right? Pop quizzes are bad, you know?
Yes. Got it.
Okay. Three, the mental filter. Mental filtering is when you kind of gloss over the positive and you put a huge microscope on the negative. So you can have like 10 great things happen and one bad thing goes wrong. And all you talk about and all you see is that one bad thing.
Is the bad. Yes. Okay. Yep. I know. I've seen that. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Then there's personalization. So basically it's when you blame yourself for the actions of other people and more or less thinking that you're the cause of all wrong going on. Okay.
Okay.
5 is should statements. This is pretty basic, just enforcing self-imposed rules or statements that need to be lived up to. You know, like, well, I won't give an example now, but that's it for that. Okay. There's labeling and mislabeling. So it's when you habitually place labels on yourself or others that usually have inaccurate or negative connotations to them.
Got it.
When you label or mislabel, you're kind of like caging yourself and others into roles that disqualify other aspects of them.
Yep.
I mean, I've done it myself, you know, plenty of times. I've done all of these things.
Yes. Well, isn't that like, is there anybody who doesn't do these things?
No.
Yeah.
And you know what? So, and I think that really, I think if we could heal ourselves more as just people and understood that we are not alone and we are usually understood by more people than we think because we all experience these things. I think most of us kind of assume that other people aren't because some people may just be better at hiding it or working with it. We all just do these things. I mean,
yeah.
We don't get a hall pass, but we can work on it once we realize we're doing it. The 7th one is emotional reasoning. So when a person considers that their emotions are facts rather than looking at them objectively. So that's why I say to you, maybe try and curtail language that is led by feelings. Because, you know, you could wake up in the morning and the alarm goes off and you're mad, and then you have a great tea and you hear a good song and you're feeling happy, and your boss says you were late on something and you're agitated. It's like in one day you can have it all, right?
Yeah.
So emotional reasoning is when you just have your feeling and then you just keep saying, it's validated because I'm having it. You know, people say, don't tell me how to feel. My feelings are valid. You know, I agree, but I have a problem with that as being the answer all the time.
Okay, this is an interesting one. All right, and the next is
it's magnification and minimization.
Oh wait, jumping to conclusions, I think, right?
Oh yeah, jumping to
that.
Yep. Yes. Oh no, we didn't do it. Thank you.
Okay.
Jumping to Conclusions is just, instead of using evidence to bring logical conclusions, you set your sight on a conclusion and then you look for clues to back it up.
Say that again for me. Repeat that.
So jumping to conclusions is, instead of evidence being brought to you to make logical conclusions, you set your sight on the conclusions before and you predetermine what it's going to be.
Got it.
Often being negative.
Got it.
A few years ago, there was a cartoon that was put out called Anxiety Girl. And I was like, this isn't me. Someone, watched me in the middle of the night and made a cartoon about me. She was dark haired and had freckles and wore a cape. And it said, Anxiety Girl, jumping to the worst conclusions in a matter of seconds. That was her superpower. So,
That's funny.
Yeah. So there's jumping to conclusions. And then the last two, there's magnification and minimization. So when you place larger emphasis on negative aspects and downplay the positive aspects, a lot of therapists use the term catastrophizing. That's what magnification and minimization is. And then disqualifying the positive is literally just, not including the possibility that anything good can happen.
So does that sort of go along with is it the mental filter?
Yeah. So there's a lot of these that are kind of like intertwined with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that is like that. The disqualifying the positive though is usually depicted with language like, yeah, but in the end. Got it. Okay.
All right. So
are you ready for your pop quiz?
I'm ready for my pop quiz, Shira.
Okay. And listen, whatever you get, you're still a good, smart, lovely human being. And that's all that really matters. So
yes, I am. Okay.
Yes, I am. Okay. So here we go. Let me just pull it up. Okay. So here's the scenario. Somebody says, there's definitely not going to be any toilet paper in the stores I go to, or I'm sure my partner and I will get into an argument today about social distancing.
Wow. Okay. So that's the scenario. Now, what do I do with it?
Which distortion?
Oh, where does it, which distortion? All right. Well, this is fun. Okay. Let's do this. Say it again. They're two different scenarios, the same scenario.
I'm just giving you two examples of one possible distortion. So
okay, go ahead.
I'll just say one of them. There's definitely not going to be any toilet paper in the stores I go to today.
Okay, so that's all or nothing. Or jumping to conclusions.
Yes, jumping to conclusions.
Okay.
You got it. So in this test, you get 4 tries until it's not right. So so far you have 100%.
Oh God, don't grade it.
Okay, now we're not going to ever use jumping to conclusions again. So strike that out of your options.
Okay. Oh, we're not? We're not
I'm just
jumping.
doing one of each.
Okay.
So the more you answer, the easier
it gets. Got it. Awesome.
Okay. Here's the next one. Can you hear me?
Shira?
Yes.
Hello. Oh, sorry. Did you say something? You just broke up again.
I just said, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. The next one is, in 1 week, a person was praised by their boss, felt confident about homeschooling their child, and was able to take some time out of self-care. But their view was, I can't believe I didn't cook dinner this week. I am a failure.
Okay. So that is either 3, which would be mental filter, or disqualifying the positive.
Mental filter. You got it.
I like this game.
Yeah, you're doing good. And you know what? You're saying, how do you start restructuring? You know what they say in AA? First, you have to recognize you have the problem. First, you have to recognize how you are talking.
Right.
Then you can do the work. And maybe you need to spend a long time seeing how you talk.
That's really interesting.
That's So
that
let's
that requires a level of awareness or self-awareness, I think.
Yes.
And
willing to be critical in a non-disparaging manner.
Okay.
What about this one? You never listen to me, or I'm always the one cleaning.
That is the is it overgeneralization?
Think about
Generalization
one of
or
them,
all or nothing?
all or nothing. Because
Okay.
all or nothing is superlative
You
talk,
never, right?
Never,
Always,
always.
never. There you go.
Okay, you're zooming through. What about this one? We should all be getting along during this quarantine.
That's the should statement.
Yeah, exactly.
I got that one.
Yeah, we're family, and families should support one another. It's like,
Got it.
how the hell are we all should be getting along when we're all with each other 24 hours a day?
All the time.
Yeah,
all the time. All day, every day.
Yes, Groundhog's Day. And you're supposed to be.
Oh my gosh,
happy.
Yes.
Yes, you're supposed
Every
to be.
day.
What about this one? A client tells a therapist that he needs to make a doctor's appointment, but that he's afraid for his physical safety because of COVID. The therapist informs him the doctor's office are appointment only, masks are worn all the time, and the office space is being cleaned between clients. The client's response, yeah, but you're still going to be going into an exposed area.
Oh, you said that, yeah, but statement. So is that disqualifying the positive?
Yes.
No, it is.
Trust
Yay!
yourself.
See,
Yes.
this is what they tell you on the ACTs and the SATs. Your first answer is always right.
And you know what? They're correct. So you have a good gut. So go with it. Okay, moving on. What's this one? A parent's kids are acting out during the pandemic, mostly related to missing school and really missing their friends. The parent's response, I'm not doing good enough job as a parent. If only I could balance things better, my child would be happier.
Is that personalization or
Yes.
emotional? Oh man, good.
Terri, you're on your way.
Okay, watch me go.
Watch out, world! You are the queen of knowing the cognitive distortions.
That's so funny because I didn't know what they were.
You're doing good.
Okay.
Okay. We're almost done. We're almost at the finish line. What about this one? A business owner only notices the complaints of customers during business shutdown and evolutions and reopenings, and they don't recognize the compliments of appreciative customers.
Right. So interesting because we did mental filter already.
I know they're a little related.
We did disqualifying the positive already.
Mm-hmm. So think about this.
So
the person is seeing all of this bad and
emotional reasoning. No, not emotional reasoning.
They're seeing all of the bad. It's getting big. And
magnification and minimization. Thank you for leading me.
You still have 100% because you only guessed two wrong. Okay, what about this one? I'm angry with you, therefore you must be the wrong one. I feel angry with you, so you're definitely the wrong one.
Wow. Emotional reasoning.
Yes.
Okay. What
about this one? We have two more. I know that last week it took me 35 minutes to get into Trader Joe's, so it will definitely take me at least 35 minutes this week.
Overgeneralization.
Yes.
Okay.
And the grand finale, you're lazy, you're depressed, I'm overwhelmed, I'm a worrywart, she's a complainer.
Labeling and mislabeling.
Correct.
Excellent.
Okay. So now you know what to look for, right?
Yeah. This is really interesting stuff, Shira. I have to tell you, I've never done anything like this before, and it was really interesting, and I want to thank you so much for all this great advice and honestly breaking it down in a way that's easy to understand and non-threatening as well. So
Yeah.
I think that's important. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. And I will say that I really, really did enjoy it. And I hope everybody else who was able to listen to this or who will listen to this in the future can follow along and play the quiz or do the quiz, because I think it was fantastic. But Shira, do you want to share?
Terry, I only lost you right now.
Yeah. So I think we want to just give you a chance to give any parting words.
I think just in general, if you guys start.
Did you hear that last bit? I can't. This has been a fun one. Oh, hello? No.
Yes, we are here.
Anyway,
we hear you
Shira,
now.
if you're with us.
Should I just?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. You want to give some last parting words?
My parting words are just, if you can kind of boil everything down to a nutshell, it's just kind of cross-check your thoughts. Ask yourself if you're having any distortions or, figuring out whether you're having feelings that are factual or opinion-based, and then go from there. I'm going to post the ABCDE exercise form on the WBDC Connect Facebook page. I was telling you guys that.
All right. So I'm not sure who's on.
Hey, Shira was just giving some parting words. Do you hear us now?
Well,
I'm thanking Shira. Oh, Shira, are you in?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, do you hear us?
Now I can hear you. I think it's definitely on my end. I apologize because I'm in the exact same place I've been before, but do you have any last words, anything you'd like to say? Yes. Not last words, but
I have.
Or did you say that already?
I have said some, but I will also just say, I really do encourage anybody who is feeling stressed out or anxious or anything to be open to therapy. And also, don't be afraid to meet with somebody in this way on Zoom. I've had plenty of new clients over Zoom. It works. I know it's not the same, but we're all evolving. And maybe if you have some bad feelings about it, think about whether you're having some distorted expectations and really do what you need to take care of yourselves during this time. And that's really it.
Thank you. I mean, really, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure meeting with you. I'm sorry about the tech, but it was really awesome and a lot of fun. And I'm going to wrap up today's conversations with just a few little housekeeping items. If you guys can if everyone listening can please just stay with us. As many of you are aware, back in April, we introduced the WBDC Connect, our membership program, where we're sharing information, insights, and inspiration, where you're currently on Facebook through this private group. So we're currently offering complimentary charter memberships, which include access to this group and a business directory listing on the WBDC page and an invitation to quarterly member events. If you want to sign up as a charter member, please go to ctwbdc.org/WBDC Connect. And we're looking forward to seeing you at an upcoming WBDC program. And we wish you all the best and hope you join us this coming Friday, July 10th at the same time and place for our next Feel Good Friday Facebook Live with Katie Deal, the owner of Deal Nutrition based in Norwalk, for a discussion on nutrition and how it relates to self-care and wellness. And I promise you my internet connection, well, I can't promise that, but I will try to make my internet connection much better. And I wish everybody a great weekend. Shira, again, thank you so much for joining us. It was amazing. Thank you.